Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Real Life with Ty. I can't believe we're at number 11. Like, we have officially stepped into, well, number 10 would have officially stepped into, but we're at double digits. Like, it's so crazy to me when I see that I'm still going. I know that's like really weird to say, but it's just like, wow, you started at episode 1 and you're at episode 11 now, and time goes by so fast. And as always, I just want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support me, continuing to listen to me, sending me DMs, texting me, emailing me. Like, you guys truly do keep me going, and I am super thankful as always.
You've got Ty on the line on her podcast. So what's on her mind? And for you now, you are listening to Ty on the line. You've got Ty on the line on her podcast. So what's on her mind? And for you now, you are listening to Ty on the line.
So this week's spotlight goes out to Sylvester McNutt III. For those who don't know, I truly do enjoy reading. I read anything from love stories to urban stories to sci-fi to crime scenes. If it's interesting, I'm always down to read it. So Sylvester is an author, a speaker, and a creator. On his website, he talks about making the transition from his corporate job to fully becoming a creator, his journey through a toxic relationship, depression, and unhappiness. I got his book from a friend, and the book that I'm reading is called Dear Soul, Love After Pain, and I just want to read you guys a quick passage. This is under the gratitude portion. So it goes, the practice of gratitude. It is the most powerful tool you have when it comes to happiness, as you are literally giving away power. You are empowering the people around you. I invite you to make these 3 phrases exist by calling these people right now. Mom, dad, brother, sister. I am glad that we are in the same family because of coworker, boss, employee, assistant. I really appreciate the work you do because, friend, you have been a great friend to me, and I want to thank you because these phrases said with sincerity in real life application will change your life. I guarantee it. If you don't believe me, try it right now and let's see what happens. People who practice being grateful have higher levels of control of their environments, personal growth, and purpose in life. People who practice and believe in being grateful accept themselves and their situations at a more efficient rate. Multiple studies and doctors have supported that gratitude is the father of all pillars of mental well-being. Now, that's just a quick passage for it. If you're into books about self-love, inspiration, happiness, his books are definitely great reads. Since then, I have ordered his other books, and I'm really intrigued with his use of words and the messages that he sends. Like, he is definitely a great creator. So you can go ahead and check him out. I believe his Instagram is, sorry guys, I'm looking it up. It's Sylvester McNutt on Instagram. So I'm sure you guys can definitely find him. And that is the spotlight for this week. Darling, fetch me my teacup. This week's tea is Yogi Ginger Tea. Some of the ingredients include lemongrass, peppermint, and black pepper. This tea is good for keeping your hands and feet warm. It helps support your skin, your liver, indigestion, and your throat. This tea is very spicy because of the ginger and the peppermint, but it also has a fresh smell, and it really only needs 1 tea bag because it's very strong. And this tea, the little message, it says the gate to happiness is self-compassion. This tea, I wouldn't really drink it as far as for the taste because, like I said, it's on the spicy side. But as far as the benefits, they are really good for you, and they really do help, make you feel better. And it did keep me warm, so that's always good. If you're anemic like I am, I'm always cold. So this is a good tea to help warm up your hands and your feet. So shout out to Yogi for that. This week, I sit down with a very good friend of mine and co-founder of New Era Prep, Kenny Stevens. So let's go ahead and check out that interview. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Real Life with Ty. Today we have an interview with my dog. So Kenny is a FAU alumni. He has his bachelor's degree in psychology and a master in educational leadership. He is an African American history teacher at Santa Lucia's High School. He is also the co-founder of New Era Rep, a news outlet that highlights students and athletes and invests in athletes through sports, education, and community service. Not to mention, he is also my best friend of like, what, 8 years, 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. You can't keep counting.
So, welcome to the show, Kenny.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to come on the show.
Aw.
I like everything that you're doing. I've been listening to all the people that come on, and you give some great tips about just life and different things. You know, I especially liked the segment about taxology. That was real good.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So, first we're going to go ahead and get started. Tell me about New Era Rep.
All right, so New Era Prep.
Prep, I'm sorry.
All right, New Era Prep. It's our second year in business, so we're a nonprofit organization. So we actually this was my best friend, one of my best friends, Zavon, his dream to do something like this with media and sports because he did it before with another company. So they weren't advancing the way he dreamed of it. So he was like, let's start our own. And I, helped him out and being one of the pioneers that started along with Nigel Tobias and Keith Ford. Those some of our older guys. They're like the veterans of the media thing. So we got our photographer, we got an editor, we got writers, and we also have our student volunteer program that's part of New Era Prep. So we not only didn't want to just focus on us, we wanted to focus on the community as well. So getting out and getting students that's interested in photography, videography, and journalism of that nature. That's a big part of what we do, and like actually right now, that kind of carrying our organization. With the things that they do.
That's good. And you're also from the Boynton area, so it only made sense for you to bring something within the community that was able to help you. And so right now you're saying that all of the kids are mostly handling it. So how do you oversee them?
Well, I'm just overseeing them. I'm more on administrative tasks. The first year of it, I was more in the field. I was writing. I was taking pictures. I was doing videos, interviewing coaches, students, student athletes. We was also giving out plaques to student athlete of the month. We did that as well. So this year, I'm more hands off because it's more for the younger generation to advance rather than myself. All right, because we want to focus more on the youth rather than us, because the youth, they are the future, and that's how I see it. So we want to prep them and get them real world experience, and we have a pretty big following, so this is also helping them build their profile if they're in college. We have one, Matt Brown, he's an intern at FAU, and then we have Ronaldo and we have Kevin. They're both students at Santa Lucia's. One is a writer and one is a photographer that they accumulated so many community service hours with us, and they've been doing a great job with their writing. And the future is bright in this, so we want to elevate them as much as possible. That's our main goal with New Era Prep.
That's good, and it's good that it's a different way for them to receive community service hours. So you also have different components to this, such as community service and the college connection. So what are some things that you do in those areas?
With the college connection, it kind of didn't take off how we wanted it to, but it's been pretty good. We wanted to bring back our student athletes and some students, if we could, that could come back and speak to youth at the high school level and just give them some inspiration, and tell them about their college experience and how everything's been going, and give them a real feel, because I'm young, I'm 26, but you have someone that's fresh, they already in there, still in college, they 18, 19, they'll be more apt and more hip to listening to them because they're right there with me. So this could be me next year, this could be me in a few months. So their ears are more open. We had a couple events that went pretty well, and we got some good reception with the college connection. As far as the community service, I feel like that's our biggest niche right now, due to the community service program. And, the students, there is great reception to that. And, administration at high schools, they love to have their students out in the field, getting real world experience with something that they see themselves doing as a career in the future. So I feel the fulfillment in doing that. And that's, more why we have the student volunteers, pioneering our program at this point.
That's super awesome. You also have the KSJ Scholarship Fund. So tell us more about that.
All right, so the KSJ Scholarship Fund, this is a dream of mine always, since I was in high school. So I received the scholarship my senior year from the George Snow Scholarship Fund. Is down in Boca Raton, and the scholarship is about $8,000, and that helped out a lot because that was extra money in my pocket, and it was great people and mentors that was also a part of it. They didn't lead with money, so I like that a lot. Because money can't fix every problem, and it was like they knew that although they was there for a scholarship, they did much more than push money to you or kind of just dealt with you on that level. So I wanted to kind of recreate that same idea, but right here, in the Boynton Beach, Delray, and Lake Worth kind of area, and didn't expand out. So the scholarship is a small scholarship right now. It's about 500 to 250, and we also give laptops and we give a backpack with school supplies to the students. So it's basically like a little starter kit, but we also attach them with a mentor as well, who can help them set up demographics about college. If they're going from Florida to West Virginia, we like, okay, we can set you up with someone that's there as a mentor and kind of give you the lowdown on what you need to look out for, help you adjust as you get on this road to college, because a lot of people, they go places they don't know anything about,
Right.
and then they end up coming right back home. So
That's true.
it's like mentorship, scholarship, give them a little starter pack. I just wanted to really afford the youth opportunity that I had, and even expand on it. And with me being young, once again, I use that to my advantage because I know it inspires the youth, because I'm only probably 8 to 9 years older than
Right.
most of the students that I'm dealing with, so they see me as like a big brother rather than some big
Some
man on
adult
campus
trying
or
to
some
tell them
adult trying to
something,
tell them what to
right.
do. Exactly, yeah.
Okay, we see you. I know you have been part of the school district for some time, and you've made a lot of connections throughout Palm Beach County. You did football in high school. You also played football in college, but you did have a situation with a local staff member at the school. So I want you to go ahead and just explain this story a little bit.
All right, so just to get it started, I mean, there's been like several situations, but it was just one that kind of tipped the balance for me and kind of made me get out of character. In a professional way. I didn't get cursing out and all that, because that stuff really don't work, because that's when a lot of people in adult life, they shut down in those conversations. But it was just the point of telling somebody about themselves. But to get to the situation, it was the situation is over. Let me say that first. It's kind of dead right now. I don't want to make it seem like I'm enraging or trying to add fuel to the fire. I just want to say that first. But the situation happened at Olympic Heights High School. So their former head coach, Coach Bass, he's at Jupiter Christian right now. But he invited us out. He was like, hey, guys, come to the game. Whatnot. We told him we'll be there because we want to support their guys, and a couple guys had made a few college commitments, and we kind of know them on a personal level because we've been around the practices so much all of Palm Beach County. And we got to the game. I got to the game. I'm there a little early as always. And, saying hey to everybody. Filming a couple clips before the game, and then their athletic director, former athletic director now, she was fired this after the season, and she came up to me and was like, you have to leave the field. And it was just like out of nowhere. She was real demanding about it, and she didn't ask any questions, didn't ask for any ID, anything like that. And she was just real nasty with it. And it was like, I tried to find one of the coaches while I was on the sideline there, and I finally had got the one. They were kind of in a bad situation because it was just about to be kickoff,
Right.
and they're like, they kind of worried about a game, which I understood, but it was just like she was real. I don't know what her issue was, because it was something deeper than me being there as media personnel, because I've been there. In the summer, the spring.
Right.
We've been all up and through that school. We did a 2-hour segment with one of their players the year before, and after that, he received a Division II scholarship to a university after we posted that interview. So I just felt not betrayed, but it was just kind of hurt by the situation. And she threatened to call the police on me, and the thing I told her, I pulled out every badge I had on me, and I'm like, I work for the district, so
Right.
this would look really weird for you to call the police on a district member, that's out
Right.
here on the field, and I'm doing something to help the community.
Especially
Yeah.
you guys are on the same team, her being a part of the district and you also.
Yeah, exactly. So you thought she would be a little bit more gracious, but
Mm-hmm.
we still had to leave, which I understood at that point. I wanted to leave anyways because I was very uncomfortable, but it is what it is. It's water under the bridge at this point. I'm not too much tripping over it. I feel like everything worked out the way it was supposed to, and we've been in talks with the district and some higher ups about what they can do to change this whole gap between media and the sports world, and more specifically football,
Mm-hmm.
because other sports they're not monitoring as much with media.
Right. So, how has that changed your views with the school district and their ability to resolve issues or situations that happen like that?
I mean, at first I was a little upset about the situation because I felt like they were being really slow about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to light a little fire up on them and contact some people that I know, that was a little higher up
Mm-hmm.
to get the ball rolling with everything, because I'm a person that wants to get things done and resolved, as quickly and professionally as possible. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like they weren't doing that because they were trying to find a way to, wrap around or, make up something that could possibly, make it seem like we were in the wrong, although
Mm-hmm.
we were very qualified, 501c3 organization and everything. So, but now it's like it got done. We're over it. And I'm just looking forward to what's next.
That's great. So it's safe to say there's no more altercations at this moment, and y'all all good.
Yeah, there definitely shouldn't be any more altercation. I think after that whole rant I had on Twitter, I think everybody know who I am and who knew where a prep is for real. I mean, that was I got the reaction I was looking for,
Hmm.
and we got what we needed out of that.
And that's why it's important for you to be able to stand up for yourself and stand your ground and not be in a disrespectful way or anything like that, but in a way to get things done. So I'm proud of you for that.
Appreciate it, most definitely. Got to do what you got to do, to get things done. And sometimes you have to, go that route
Hmm.
to show people that you're serious, because a lot of people they just think like, I felt like in that situation she thought I was just because I look young.
Hmm.
She thought I was just some kid trying to be on the sideline at the game, and then once I, started telling her who I am and different stuff, she looked kind of like shocked, like, oh wow, he's not just some kid out
Right.
here, trying to be on the sideline of a game, you know. So
Okay, well, I want to move more a little bit into your career. So, you are an African American history teacher. What are some things you do to empower and motivate your students?
we do a few projects, but I think the most empowering thing that I do is having real life conversations with my students.
Mm-hmm.
Taking time aside for that because it is an elective, so I can kind of deviate away from the curriculum, and we
Mm-hmm.
could, long as it's relatable, but have like real world conversations. Just one example would be with Kanye West and the whole statement about as slavery a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And we got into a real good not argument but discussion about that. A lot of people, a lot of the students, they shared their perspective, and it was really good because you got to see both sides, and see, you got to get them thinking on a deeper
Mm-hmm.
level about what Kanye said. So empowering them and having conversations, because a lot of times I tell my students, you are very safe right now because you're 16, 17, even maybe 15.
Mm-hmm.
There's no judgment being put on you because you're a student.
Mm-hmm.
But people will treat you very different once you graduate. And I think that was one of the realities that I had, going into the real world, because it's like people now, they put their prejudice on you now that you're not a student, because before they just say, oh, that's just a student,
Right.
whatever. But now, you feel like you're still kind of that student, but now they're looking at you as an adult, and then, they have to, people minds just change when, come into a grown person's perspective.
That's understandable. So, how do you steer the conversations about what's going on in the media? Because I'm sure, like you said, those age groups 15 to 17, 18, they talk about those things. So, things like Black Lives Matter, the president, and R. Kelly, how do you steer those conversations so you're not having,
Yeah, those I would say are some very interesting conversations, but
Mhm.
steering those conversations, I just make it clear from the beginning, that be professional in your conversation about it, because in the real world you can't just blurt out and say what you want to say. You can, but you
Mhm.
you have to be ready for the consequences,
Right.
behind it, and how people are gonna look at you. Some people may not care, but you never want to make your face dirty off of a statement where you're trying to get your point across,
Mhm.
and not hurt anybody's feelings. But we just navigate the conversation in a way that it's like, get to express yourself, but don't put anybody else down or their views when we're in the classroom, especially something like being very sensitive with the R. Kelly
Right.
situation. They have the whole Me Too movement right now going on, so it's just it's a range of things. It's a very dynamic conversation, I'll say the
Mhm.
least. But we do have those conversations and talk about them a little bit. I don't go too much because I don't want to put because me being an adult in the room,
Mhm.
my perspective might turn into their perspective because
Right.
they're looking up to me. So I try not to put too much of my input into it.
That's good. So I know you've seen some of the viral videos of students attacking teachers, and what would be your approach to those situations, not to ensure your safety, but also the student's safety? Well, you probably may not even experience it as much because of the fact that you're a male teacher too.
I think being a male teacher is definitely an advantage. If we being honest, having a beard, having dreads, that also helps.
So
you
you basically
know,
saying the kids know who to try, who not to try.
yeah, looking like a total football player. So yeah, they definitely. I had one situation. Honestly, it was last year with a student where he didn't try to attack me or anything, but he kind of puffed his chest up at me, and I just told him, if you gonna hit me, you better knock me out. Like that's what I told him, and then he just left. I sent him out the room because he was kind of acting out. I told him to step outside with me,
Mhm.
because my thing with the students is I feel like if you take the circus away from the clown, they can't perform.
Right.
That's what I tell them in the classroom. So if I take you outside, you're not gonna act out as much because it's just me and you. It's one on one now.
Right.
You trying to put on a show, and I'm not into that. I'm into resolving an issue, and when you get down to the root of the issue, it's like a lot of students they understand. I try not to take that stuff personal because you want them to see the value in what you're saying.
Mhm.
Telling students I've been there before. I get it. Some of these students they may have stuff going on at home.
Mhm.
We have students that's homeless. Some living in group homes. Like the only time they eat is when they come to school.
Right.
We got different teachers that buy students clothes, buy students food. Just doing stuff on the low to help certain students out. So you never know what they're going through. That's the approach I take, and with my students as well. When stuff like that happens, I think of it. This is what I live by as a teacher. Every day is a different person walking in that room
Mhm. That's
because
true.
their hormones,
Oh yes,
they're
those
going
age
through it,
groups.
that
Oh
age group,
God.
and a mixture of their social life. So, like I said, it's a different person walking in that room every day. I just make sure I'm, cognizant of what, I say to them. I make sure I greet them, because that could change somebody's day as well. So just little stuff like that to kind of deviate from the negative and, student might want to puff up and try to attack me.
That's good. That's a good approach to have. So you have a business, a career, no children. You know how to communicate. You're
Not that
good
I
with
know of.
kids.
I'm just playing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So some would call you a unicorn. So what is dating like for someone like you?
Non-existent. Nah, I mean, I'm single with a side of single.
Not single AF, but single single.
Yeah, nah, I ain't single like that. Nah, I can't. I be chilling, but dating at this age, having the things that I've come into, and the blessings that's been upon me. Not to say that I'm picky, but I'm real, cautious of who I deal with
Mhm.
as far as friends and, dating wise, because you never know some people's motive.
That's
That's
true.
not what's holding me back. But, I'm just really, I take calculated risks. That's part of my
Mhm.
personality. I feel like you could add value to my life. I'm going to take a chance on you. But, my thing is I like to lead with friendship. So I want to get to be friends first a
Mhm.
lot of times because when I'm, quote unquote, talking to somebody, like I could be in a talking phase with you for as long as 9 months before we make anything official because my thing with dating is I want to see you in every phase before we make anything official. So I want to see you when you run into some little extra money. I want to see you when you don't got no money. I want to
Mhm.
see you when you upset with your parents, how you interact with them. How you take death, how are you psychologically when adversity hits in your life. Just see you in every phase of life in that time period, to kind of gauge is this somebody I could kind of be with,
Mhm.
for the rest of my life because I don't want to have a girlfriend just to have a girlfriend. Like I want to, the goal would be, marriage if I get into a relationship because the clock is kind of ticking. We do have time, but the
Mhm.
clock is it's ticking, and I know what I want, so I don't kind of place a time limit on it.
Oh, that's that psych major talking.
You know.
So how do you manage everything and still make time for yourself?
Managing everything. I got this great thing called the iPhone, and it got a and it got a calendar in it, and you could set up, time for it to go off. So I definitely, put everything into my calendar on my phone and that I have to get done. That's outside of work. Work, that's like a non-negotiable. But different stuff or events I may be invited to, that's negotiable for me. So I have it on my calendar. If I'm available, I go. I make the time. In a way, I just. I kind of go with the flow as well, but I try to stick to my schedule for the most part. But making time for myself is mostly the weekends because I get up at about 6 o'clock every morning. So on the weekends, I try to get up at like 8, 9 o'clock, a little later to, give myself some rest. But I read in the meantime a lot. I don't watch TV. I don't even have a TV in my room. I got a TV in every room but mine. So I read a lot. That keep me kind of grounded. And it also helped me sleep better because, you open a book, you be out like a light after a while. But, yeah, that's pretty much, how I make time for myself. I mean, I don't really do anything extravagant. So, just chilling when I have time to chill, and knowing when to, go harder on something or when to, kind of calm down when I feel like I'm going too fast or got too much going on.
So you said you read books. What's a good book that you're reading right now?
The book that I'm reading right now, they came before Columbus. So this book is like a research kind of documentary in a way. I'm forgetting his name, the guy who wrote it, but they basically stating that Africans made it across the Atlantic, and over to before it was called the U.S. and there was different artifacts, different swords and tools that were discovered in America that were from those tribes, but no one wanted to believe it when they saw them here on American soil. So it's a really interesting book, and it's real different and challenged the way we've been taught about history and things like that.
Just to piggyback right quick on your teaching, so do you use outside sources like to teach your students, or do you mostly focus on like textbook and what they give you as far as the curriculum?
I almost use all outside sources to be honest. The curriculum, I go back to that, if there's something I can't really explain or they having trouble with, but mostly outside sources because with me, once again, being young, close in age group, I can make, subjects very relatable. I use that to my advantage and, the reception of that, the students having to, making the connection on, what we're trying to get through is like, it works way better than any textbook you can ever have. And then like, to be honest, some of these textbooks, they're kind of lying to the students as well, or they soften the blows of what these students are learning, about in the textbooks. They make it seem like, oh, this group was tolerant of this group. No, they weren't tolerant. They was knocking them off left and right.
Right.
They didn't knock off everybody, but they was knocking them off left and right. You just give them the real, and then show different videos. Videos are a big impact to the students as well because they get to visually see it. You got a lot of visual learners nowadays, so that's definitely a big part of what I do outside sources.
That's really good. So before we end, is there any advice you want to give the audience in regards to business, career life, bachelor life?
Let's start with bachelor life.
Okay.
Bachelor life, I would say.
Listen up, all bachelors.
I mean, I ain't the best person to give advice, especially because I'm single. But I would say, just be careful, with who you choose and the type of energy that you bring into your life. Because you may not see it right then and there, but certain people bring, better energy than others, or they might be bringing bad energy into your life, and you just don't recognize it because, you're just going about your daily life. But, somebody may be dragging you down. You want somebody that's always, edifying you and you're edifying them as well, and it's, it's a balance, it's not never, one person more than the other. There's striking a real balance between the two. Far as business, I would say learn taxes. Taxes would be a big advantage. All right, I just had this conversation with one of my former teammates on Facebook about voting Republican and things of that nature, and being and being Democrat, because a lot of people don't know that Democrats, a lot of the black votes was going for Republicans in 1800s and early 1900s. And then the side switched once, the Republicans, they got the federal funding that they needed, so they want less government now so they can control the market. And a lot of people don't know that. And then Democrats, they're more, government having their hands involved. And, you have the different, assistance programs that are out there. But, if you start a business, learn taxes, learn how to not get around them, but a way to lessen the blow of taxes, that'll be a big advantage in business because you get a lot of different write-offs, especially if you have an LLC. All those write-offs go on your personal taxes, and you get more money back off of that, and keep your taxes low as well.
Okay. Can you drop us some gems?
I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of people don't know that. That's another thing about business. You could start a business and, you're going to earn money or get what you get back. A lot of people start businesses that they want, profits right away. But, I mean, it's kind of just a rule of thumb. The first 2 years are pretty much probably going to be a loss because you're trying to recoup everything that you put into the business. But, if you do it the right way, especially, having an LLC or a business of some sort where you could put it on your personal taxes, you get that money back that you spent, like, mileage for your gas, the equipment that you brought. So, things like that.
Okay, dokie. Well, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, I mean, I got many different platforms, but Twitter and Instagram is K_Stevens. Stevens with a PH, so K_STEPHENSJR. So K_Stevens Jr. That's my Twitter and Instagram. Facebook is Ken Stevens Jr. if you find me on there. Other than that, anybody got LinkedIn? You find me Ken Stevens. That's more of like a business Facebook. LinkedIn is a good tool to use as well. Snapchat is old, so don't laugh at the name.
What's your Snapchat name?
Man, it's Humble Savage. That was my alter ego in high school, early college years.
Yeah. Side note, Snapchat don't let you change your name, so you
not
stuck with
at
whatever
all.
you got.
Yeah, unless you want to lose everybody you have in your connection.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sitting with me today, Kenny. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me. Shout out to you and everything that you're doing. Really enjoying and watching you blossom and becoming the woman that you are. It's real nice, and I'm glad you finally followed your dream and starting this because I felt like you was procrastinating or kind of getting cold feet about everything and scared. So you finally did it and put yourself out there, and it seems like the reception you're getting is great. So always positive vibes towards you and all your prosperity.
Thank you. You're good. As always, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Real Life with Ty, or you can email me at reallifewithty@gmail.com. I'm always down to talk to you, so you can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, or my email. And as always, thank you so much for listening and tuning in to Real Life with Ty. Holla.
You've got Ty